Why your lower back and hips control everything in your golf swing. If you watch this video to the end, you will get some key tips to help you get your lower back dialed in for a safer, more effective golf swing. I'm Terrence Thomas, and I help professional and amateur golfers win more tournaments by identifying and eliminating their weaknesses on and off the course. If you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe, as it greatly helps me get this content out to more golfers like yourself. So let's dive in. If you're struggling with low back pain and inconsistent ball striking, or if you're losing power, let's look at your lower back and see how that's causing these challenges for you. The root problem you may think is your grip, your stance, or a base lack of flexibility, but it gets a little bit more complicated than that, and that is what we're going to dive into here. When you consider that the lower back and the pelvis are the gatekeepers to your swing, and this region literally acts as the powerhouse of your body that transfers force from the ground into the club, it's important that you pay attention and make the necessary adjustments to get this obstacle out of the way so you can clear the runway to better golf performance. Here is a quick test that you can take to determine the current status of your lower back and pelvis. This is a test that I use with all of my golfers. It gives a lot of data that directly carries over into your golf swing. It's the Hip Hinge Test. Now, this test is going to look at a few things. It's going to look at your ability to organize the three amigos: head, rib cage, pelvis. It's going to test your ability to coordinate the hip hinge itself, meaning can you coordinate the pelvis and the low back as one unit? And then it will test the flexibility and pliability of your hamstrings, calves, and ankles to a lesser degree. So the way you do this test is you grab your long club, a driver, or if you have a broomstick or a dowel rod, you're going to place that club or stick along your spine. Most of it should stick above your head, but you want that bottom part splitting your cheeks right in half. You want one hand to be behind your neck, and the other hand is going to be behind your lower back at the level of your belly button. So this is how you're going to secure the stick to your spine and keep it there. Your feet are going to be about shoulder width apart, and then from here, you're going to initiate that hinge while maintaining contact with that stick on all three of those points, meaning the back of your head, the middle of your back, and right between your butt cheeks. Now, if any of those areas lose contact with the stick as you're hinging, it's a fail. Sometimes it takes you a couple of seconds to a couple of reps to get it down, but go ahead and try it. If you've done it about 4 or 5 times and you're still struggling, that's a fail. If you can do this seamlessly, then the hip hinge is less of an issue in terms of coordination, but you can still reap some benefit from doing this, as I will mention here in a second. So if you're doing this and it's a bit of a struggle, but you can still do it, I would still consider that a fail, and here's why. If it's taking you considerable physical bandwidth to do the drill, this means that it's not committed fully to muscle memory, which means that when you're actually swinging the golf club, you're still encountering these neurological and structural obstacles that's diverting energy away from you swinging the golf club and more into self-preservation. So this is where the fine details of motor learning comes into play with muscle memory and how it affects your golf swing. At the end of the day, physically, we want to approach it just like we would on the golf course. What's the goal on the golf course? Is we want to avoid the obstacles or elegantly navigate the obstacles as smoothly as possible. Same thing with your body. We're trying to eliminate any and all obstacles to making your best golf move. So the more we can clear that out, the more of a smooth path we'll have to accomplishing our goals. There is your hip hinge. The other drill that you're going to use to combine with the hip hinge to get your hips coordinated and stabilized is glute activation drill or lying hip extension or supine hip extension. Lie on the floor, feet flat on the ground with your knees bent, ideally about 90 degrees. And then you're going to pre-tilt your pelvis, meaning that you're going to gently press your lower back into the ground, which rolls the pelvis under. Lock your glutes in, and then from here, lift up until you get a nice squeeze in the buttocks. Hold for 5 to 10 seconds and then lower down. So what you'll do is you will combine this supine hip extension drill with the hip hinge. Now we're turning that hip hinge into an exercise. Now the test now becomes an exercise to reinforce the muscle memory, so then we can clear the runway. So I would recommend doing this before you start your round or your practice, and you can even do it afterwards to kind of recalibrate your body and to address any repetitive stress muscle imbalances that happen from the golf swing. That is an easy 2-drill sequence that you can use to get your back coordinated and stabilized. Depending on how your posture is presenting, you're going to need potentially a different solution. For example, there's 2 postural situations that I mentioned inside of both my hardstyle golf conditioning book and Start Strong golf warm-up system, where your posture can be presenting in what we call a Donald Duck, where the pelvis is more anteriorly rotated, which causes one set of problems, or it can be presenting as a Pink Panther, where the pelvis is posteriorly tilted and the hips sway or jut forward for various reasons. In my clinical experience, I've yet to see someone with overactive glutes. It's quite rare, but most of the time, either of these postural presentations, the glutes aren't contributing and they aren't able to fire properly. So the point is, this drill should be self-correcting for most cases, just to give you an idea. But if you're wanting a more customized solution to this and all of your golf performance needs, go ahead and see the link in the description and apply for coaching, where I will do a swing analysis, a 3D swing analysis, and then a functional movement analysis, and then determine an exact drill sequence on and off the course solutions to get you playing your best golf. And again, if you have not done so already, please like and subscribe. We will see you in the next lesson.